In a world brimming with a huge variety of different milks out there, have you ever wondered why some of them settle with you a little bit better than others, or vice versa? Well, today we're going to get into the different types of milk and what some of them do to you, and why some of them might be better than others, and the kinds that we enjoy the most. Welcome to the Dust or Mud Podcast.
My name's Rich.
And I'm Shelley.
After 25 years in the United States Air Force, I was a fighter pilot and retired from Washington, D.C. as a colonel. I was a strategist in the Pentagon, as well as an acquisitions professional. So went from fighter pilot to strategist to acquisitions. We decided to leave the Department of Defense and start a farm. So here we are at Air to Ground Farms on our first generation regenerative farm. And today we're going to talk about A2A2 milk, which is one of the things that we produce here on our farm.
In our most recent farm video, we revealed our newest farm member, and she is an A2A2 Jersey milk cow. She is a heifer. She is currently bred, and we're looking forward to her having a calf for us sometime in the late fall timeframe, maybe closer to December. I'm not exactly sure what her due date is at this point. However, we are really, really excited to have her on our farm. And an important part of our lifestyle here is our A2 milk.
After that video, we got a question, and it was regarding what is A2A2 or what is A2. So we decided that we'd just do a quick chat about milk in general and then focus some on A2A2 milk. Okay, glasses on for this segment. We've got 13 milk varieties to cover with you in rapid fire fashion. So go.
Skim milk, virtually fat-free with all the cream removed, offering a lighter option.
2% milk or reduced fat contains 2% milk fat, balancing flavor and lower fat content.
Whole milk, full fat milk with approximately 3.25% milk fat, rich in flavor.
Raw milk is unpasteurized milk directly from the cow, retaining natural enzymes.
Pasteurized milk, heated to kill bacteria without affecting nutritional value.
High temperature, short time pasteurized milk, pasteurized at high temperatures for a short duration to extend shelf life.
Ultra high temperature milk, sterilized at higher temperatures, shelf stable until opened.
Evaporated milk is canned milk with 60% of the water removed, often used during cooking.
Sweetened condensed milk. I really do like that kind.
Sweet.
So sweet. Thick, sweet canned milk with sugar added.
Powdered milk is completely dehydrated milk, which is convenient for storage and transportation.
Lactose-free milk, treated to remove lactose, suitable for lactose intolerant.
Buttermilk. Traditionally, it's the stuff that's left over after you make butter. Nowadays, it's typically just a cultured milk.
And finally, A2 milk. Comes from cows producing A2 beta-casein protein, easier to digest for some.
Okay.
All right. So those are the basic types of milk. And what I would like to focus on is the proteins and the fats.
Okay.
Oh no, the proteins, the fats, and the naturally occurring bacteria.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So the proteins.
A1 and A2. Help us.
It's a beta casein is the type of protein that it is. And they are just literally two different types of proteins. Historically, all cows were A2. And a long time ago, there was a genetic mutation that occurred, and A1 was the result of that mutation. Now, milk that you find in the grocery store is typically a mixture of A1 and A2. Most dairies, at least in the United States, most dairies do not test for the A1 or A2 beta casein properties from their cows. And most dairies have Holstein or Holstein Friesian cows. And for them, it's about 70 to 75% of them are either A1A1 or A1A2 or A2A1. So just saying that most of them have a mixture that includes A1 beta casein proteins in them. And with the A1 beta casein, it can sometimes give off a peptide during digestion. And that is a BCM7 peptide, whatever.
Beta casomorphin 7.
Right. It is a peptide that's released during the digestion of A1, the A1 protein, and it is an opioid like.
Right. Notice the morphine part in the name of the peptide. That's the thing that binds to the receptors.
Yeah, so it activates the opioid receptors within your digestive system, and the result of that is, one, it slows down digestion. And some people are more sensitive to that slowdown than others. And for some people, that slowdown of digestion leads to bloating, gas, stomach pains, diarrhea, like constipation. It can act in multiple different manners, and oftentimes leads people to really self-diagnose as being lactose intolerant.
Right.
There's a difference, though, between lactose intolerant and A1 sensitivity.
Right. They both present the same. Lactose intolerance will present with bloating, stomach pain, discomfort, diarrhea, things like that. A1 sensitivity presents with bloating, all of the exact same things. There is testing that your doctor can order, though.
Yes.
That can determine what your problem really is.
They can test if you are lactose intolerant.
Right.
From my studies, at least as of yet, there isn't a test, like a medical test, that determines if you are A1 sensitive.
However, elimination works.
You can do an elimination diet. Right. That's right. The lactose intolerant, the folks that are truly lactose intolerant, their bodies lack lactase, which is required to digest lactose.
Right.
Those who are A1 sensitive have lactase, so they are digesting the lactose.
Right.
They're just very sensitive to that slowdown that happens in the digestive system due to those morphine-like properties and activating those morphine receptors.
If you've ever been on an opioid painkiller, probably your doctor gave you some Colace, little orange pills that goes with that medication. And the reason is because that medication slows down your digestive system, very similar to what the A1 protein within the milk does.
And what does the Colace do?
The Colace is a stool softener.
Oh, got it.
So it softens your stool so that you can, because your digestive system slows down so much, with that, it's the same mechanism that's happening there.
Got it.
And we don't take Colace generally with just drinking regular milk.
Right.
But it's something that they're finding out. And it's fascinating to know that could just be a very simple fix.
Yeah.
Find a different kind of milk.
Right.
Right.
So you mentioned fats, I think was the other thing you
mentioned?
mentioned?
Fats. I would like to talk about that. Different we had some skim, some whole, some 2%, and raw. And then there was the Jersey milk I don't think we've mentioned. Yeah. What's the fat in that?
Right. So skim milk, they remove as much of the fat as they can.
Right.
So it's down like very near, if not zero. Then you have I guess there's 1%. We didn't really mention that, but
true.
So it's 1% and 2% is 2%.
Homogenized, of course, so you can't really tell what's in it. But
right, which means that they mix it up really good such that it doesn't separate anymore.
Right.
And then whole milk is 3.25%.
Yep.
is what would be considered whole milk. Then a Jersey cow, like what we have, Jersey milk, pure Jersey milk, is anywhere between 4.5 to 5%
Milk fat.
milk fat.
And the milk fat is what we create the butter from. So once we've skimmed the cream, take the cream, shake it up, get that butter, get all of the fats to clump together and make that butter. That's the milk fat that we're talking about. And a higher percentage of milk fat from our cows is super beneficial for us since we're ketogenic. We get a higher amount of fat from our cows. We
Yep.
can make more butter.
Yep.
Our cream is, I don't know, creamier.
Well, there's more of it.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of it. So for us, the higher fat is hugely beneficial. We want that.
Yes, absolutely. And so the Jersey was the breed that we went with.
Not to mention they're adorable.
They are.
They really are. It's hard to say no to them.
Yeah,
It really
it
is.
really is.
You know they're princesses.
They are, and they're always hungry.
They are. But they make good milk.
Yeah, they do.
So we let them be what they are.
That's right. And
Okay.
then the last thing you wanted to talk about.
Oh, potential beneficial bacteria.
Okay.
So raw versus pasteurized. On that list, there were a lot of different pasteurized flavors. So we have pasteurized, your regular from the jug milk. And then there was some high heat, and then there was some ultra high heat. I mean, you can leave that stuff on the shelf till
Forever. Yeah.
ever. And so it has nothing in it.
Bacteria.
Bacteria wise. I mean, it is really shelf stable.
Right.
Raw milk comes with all of the natural occurring bacteria that are good bacteria.
Yep. It has the enzymes and bacteria still in it. That's right. It doesn't get cooked out.
Right.
It doesn't get pasteurized.
That might sound a little scary or leery for some folks.
Yeah. Well, there's good reason, because the United States government talks about how bad it is for you.
That's true. If you go to the FDA website and the CDC website, you can read how bad raw milk is for you.
Dangerous.
Or, I'm sorry, how dangerous raw milk is or can be for you.
And
the risk that you take.
There's really good reason that it got to that place.
There is.
So in the late 1800s, as all of the families were leaving the farms and moving to the cities,
right,
they were taking their cows with them.
Mm-hmm.
And people still wanted to have milk, but they weren't living on the farms anymore.
Right.
So the cows moved to the cities too, and they started living in really bad conditions, and they started eating a very low nutrition brewer's grain that was left over from beer and alcohol production. So they were getting really bad food, living in really bad conditions, and the result of that was milk that was making people really sick, and they were dying.
So what goes into the cow and their living conditions has an absolute direct effect on the milk that they produce.
Yeah, especially their conditions. Man, it was
bad.
It had gotten bad.
Yeah.
Well, pasteurization had taken Louis Pasteur discovered it, 40, 50 years earlier, and in the late 1800s, early 1900s is when they found that they could do that same thing to milk. They could pasteurize it and get rid of a lot of the unhealthy bacteria that was there because of the poor conditions that the cows were in. Another option would have been
move the cows back to the country.
Move the cows back to the country.
Unfortunately, at that time, there were no refrigerated trucks. So getting that milk into the cities was impossible because we couldn't keep it cold enough, long enough to get it to the people who needed it. So they were doing the best that they could with what they had to work with at the time.
Right.
And because we didn't have the refrigeration to move it, what they did was heat it, and they killed the bacteria that were hurting people, and it solved a whole lot of problems, and it was an amazingly good thing.
Yeah, almost instantly.
For the early 1900s.
Death rates were reduced significantly.
So let's fast forward a little bit, though, to 2024.
Okay.
Where we have technology beyond technologies at this point.
I think that we can maybe make a mentality shift is that on the small scale operations, you might be able to get away from the pasteurization in a safe manner and reap benefits from the raw unpasteurized milk while still mitigating those health concerns that were valid in the early 1900s are still valid,
Hmm.
but because like all the way down to us at the small farm scale, we can immediately get our milk cool. We can
I
we can clean all of our equipment and keep it clean.
Right. I think then let's put the onus for the reasoning for needing to pasteurize our milk on operational, the way we're operating, and not the milk itself.
I think that's absolutely fair.
Yeah, the milk is not bad for you.
No.
The milk coming straight out of that cow is very good for you. It's the thing between when it's in the cow's udder and into your refrigerator. It's the way it comes out, it's how the dairies are operating, what are the conditions,
Yeah.
that big scale. Let's do operational rather than putting the blame
I
on the
would
milk.
agree with you as long as the cows are being raised in healthy, clean environments.
I'm going to tag that to the operational
Yeah.
workings, the workings of the dairy.
Yeah, you just said what comes out of the cow
Well, true.
is
Okay,
good
but
or
what goes
safe.
in matters too. So
Yeah.
it's your operating
Yeah. So
standards.
as long as the cow is in a healthy, clean environment,
Hmm.
the environment which the milking is done is clean, the
Right.
equipment is clean. Like, as
Okay.
long as you're in that environment,
Yeah.
then yeah, there obviously
Uh-huh.
the milk is safe.
Okay, so we're going to call milk safe, but there have been some deaths over the years due to raw milk.
Well, the studies that I saw looked at the best I can find from the CDC and FDA. They looked between 1987 and 2010. They claim there were 3 deaths in
In
that
23 years.
23-year
Hmm.
period.
Okay.
Some others will dispute those claims. Like if you look at Weston A. Price Foundation, I believe that they dispute those claims
Hmm.
and say that there were other factors involved.
Sure.
But as far as the government is concerned, that's the best time period study I could find was
So
those 23
outside
years.
of controlled substances in this country, it sounds like milk is one of the most regulated substances that we have. That is a food.
Could be. Yeah,
It's
I don't know.
highly
Yeah,
regulated.
it's
Maybe it's not the
definitely
most, but it
highly
is highly
regulated.
regulated. Um, Alcohol is highly regulated. We have to be 21 at least in most states, or well, federally, I guess, to drink alcohol consumed by whatever. Alcohol is um, pretty intense substance that is ubiquitous across our culture for use. I I'm not for it or against it. But it is a mind altering substance, behavior altering substance, and we use it pretty regularly. It's not No state, I don't think, has the law that you can't have alcohol.
Correct.
But there are states within these United States, 20 to be exact, that it is not legal to sell raw milk.
Correct. So if you compare, like, if we're going to go there,
Yeah, let's go
then
there for just a
you
second.
you compare raw milk, which had potentially, arguably, at least 3 deaths across 23 years.
Uh-huh.
If you want to compare that to alcohol, if you don't consider drunk driving and
Accidents,
accidents and stuff,
right.
alcohol and is responsible for right around 95,000 deaths annually. If you do consider like drunk driving accidents, that bumps up another 10,000. So greater than 105,000 deaths annually. If you want to compare that alcohol to raw milk, then you're comparing 105,000 deaths annually to 3 deaths over a 23-year period.
Okay, but it has been raw milk has been prohibited uh, for the majority of the last century. So only 3 deaths is because people don't drink it. It's not consumed at the rate that alcohol is consumed.
I would say that's
Prohibition
fair.
didn't work on alcohol,
But it did work on milk.
and that's interesting, isn't it? Because prohibition, they tried it. It failed miserably. So of course alcohol was legalized again.
Right.
But milk, it has been one struggle after another for people who want to consume and sell, buy, find raw milk in this country. So it seems like the people of the nation in this culture have said, okay,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's just interesting
it is.
that something that is so dangerous, we go, okay, and something that is nominally dangerous,
Yeah.
we
Well,
uh,
let,
uh, uh,
let's let's look
I
at
know it might
the
be apples and oranges, but I think for beverage, they're both beverages that are, I don't know, regulated.
yeah.
There is one guy out in California, I know his last name is McAfee, I believe. He went to the California House of Representatives, Senate,
Yeah,
whatever,
he
all of
fought
that.
hard.
He fought hard, and now you can have buy milk retail in the state of California, which is cool. Uh, Maybe that was one of those cases where it sets precedent, and maybe other states will follow. Who knows? Who knows? It's really strict in some states and less strict in other states.
So in our state of Missouri, for our farm, we are allowed to sell raw milk off farm.
Right,
We cannot sell raw milk retail through a store.
right.
But but it is legal for us to sell it from the farm.
Yes. Yep. In other states, you have to sell it. If you want to sell it, you have to sell it maybe as pet food, and that would be the only way that
Or
you
cow
can get away.
shares.
Or cow shares, right? So anyway, those are the ins and outs of the raw milk sales. Did I mention anything else that we were potentially going to discuss?
We need to go back to our A2
Okay, let's go back to
discussion.
our HC discussion.
So we have mentioned, and often you'll hear us say when we talk about our jerseys, we say they are A2A2.
Hmm.
And it's important to us. Neither Shelley nor I nor anyone in our family has an A1 sensitivity. But there are people in our community that have A1 sensitivities.
Hmm.
And when we bought the cows, we bought them A2 on purpose
Hmm.
from the beginning
Right.
in order to offer something that might not be available to other folks in our community that might need it. And what we found during our first season of milk was that we had quite a few families that needed A2 milk.
Yeah, there was one lady, a friend of ours. She wanted to try it. She had not been able to have milk for quite a long time because she was just really, really sensitive to it, and asked if she could try some. She tried some, and turns out, and she needs the calcium because us older women kind of knew. And so she tried it and it worked for her. And she was just absolutely over the moon. Like, I can have dairy back in my life again because you guys are here and close.
Yeah, I had written a blog on the differences between A1 and A2 milk, and
Hmm.
a couple of people contacted us after reading
Yeah,
after reading the blog saying, I think I want to try this A2 thing
right.
because I've thought that I was lactose intolerant and maybe I'm not.
Yeah,
Maybe I just have an A1 sensitivity. And we had a mom contact us. Her kids were having some problems with milk. And I think two of the three were able to drink the A2 milk, and the third one still couldn't
right,
drink it. All right.
right.
So, like, it's not
No,
a
it's not guaranteed that it's
guaranteed,
going to
but yeah,
work, but oftentimes that is the answer.
yeah.
And it just brought us a lot of joy to be able to provide something that works for families and puts nutrition back into their refrigerator. We're going to go milk the cow anyway. We were going to have a cow anyway.
Right.
Why not have the kind that might service other people's needs even.
Right. Well, yeah, it adds butter back into their life. It
Right.
adds cheese back into their life,
Right.
yogurt, like all of the dairy products that they had not been being able to have
Yeah.
are now a part of their life again. So that was really neat. So that's why for us
Right.
we talk about A2 is because for some people it's a
Mhm.
really big deal.
Right. If you're interested in seeing our newest princess on the farm, make sure you check out our most recent video about our newest arrival.
I'll put it up as the end screen.
Okay, good. That'll be great.
And we'd love to hear your A2 stories. So if you have any experience with them, or if you're trying to work out whether you're lactose intolerant or A1 sensitive, we'd love to join the community together to have a chat about this particular topic.
Yeah. Is raw milk legal in your country or state? Are you allowed to get it? How easy is it for you to get it? Share that in the comments also. We love that kind of conversation.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us again. And until next time, bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.